Which one? My father, my husband, or my son?
You want them? You bet. Perfect. Just tell Josh which color.
Red?
Rojo.
Thank you guys so much for having us here today. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Muchas gracias a todos. Doy gracias porque nos dieron este hermoso tiempo de poder compartir con ustedes.
Thank you all. Sure.
And yellow.
Thank you everyone for this yellow. Thank you everyone for this opportunity to share.
Would you turn the That does help Hannah.
I am not a tech person.
And it matches your shirt.
So we are the Garcia family. We work and live in Iquitos, Peru, and that is an island. Only accessible by boat or airplane. And there's about 500,000 people that live there, not counting the river villages and everyone else further up. Next, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out.
All right.
Bueno, yo soy Manuel. Tuve la fortuna de poder conocer a Hannah y poder formar familia con ella.
So my name is Manuel. I had the opportunity to get to know Hannah, and we started a family together.
Nosotros somos 3 hermanos
So in my family, I have 2 sisters.
y yo soy el intermedio.
I'm the middle child, so I have an older sister and a younger sister.
Mi papá
And this is my father.
y mi mamá que ahora está disfrutando de la presencia de Dios.
My mom is in heaven, partying up with Jesus.
Ella era una mujer muy dedicada.
She was a very, very delicate woman.
Ella en realidad siempre era una mujer de oración.
She was a prayer warrior.
Y mi papá un hombre muy paciente hasta ahora.
And my father was a very patient man even to this day.
Así que yo doy gracias a Dios por meternos ahí, en realidad, por permitirnos nacer en esa familia.
I am very grateful to God for allowing me to grow up in that family with Christian roots and everything. So my name's Hannah Baxter. I actually grew up outside of, in between Gardner and Ventura. My mom and dad are Terry and Debbie Baxter. I have 8 siblings, and growing up, we would travel as a family. Different churches would invite my dad to come speak, and we would travel America. My dad would do messages while my mom did children's ministry. And growing up in that family just gave me a passion for kids. God called me down to Peru in 2010, and I was there for 6 weeks, and God broke my heart for the kids there. And then after that, I just thought, well, that was a good trip, and I'll go on with my life. God had other plans. I ended up returning 2 other times, and then I did an 18-month internship through International Messengers. And at that point, I realized I need to get the language down. So I came to America, and I attended a Bible college that taught 2 years of Spanish in 1 year. I went through that, and then I returned to Peru as a career missionary. And that is how I got down there.
Did you figure it out, Schultz?
Nope.
So you got a sister down there too, right?
Yes.
Is she on the island?
She's on the island. Their house is about 45 to 50 minutes from where we're at, and then we get together about 2 times a month. She's also a missionary down there too. So it's fun to have some family close by,
Okay.
especially when we're missing America. And then, si quieres ayudar,
That should go.
I click on it, but it comes up here, but it comes from there, and I grab it.
So then Manuel and I met through a common friend in 2017. At that time, we were hosting a family from a different culture, and they were just telling me the wife was telling me, you know, I didn't feel like my ministry is valid when I was single, because now that I'm married
It's
and I
okay
have
for
kids, I
my
can
life.
connect to every type of
It's all right.
family.
Yes.
And I went home and I said, God, I don't need a husband or a boyfriend. I just want to get dressed up, have someone pay for my food, get called beautiful, and that's it. So my friend, I wrote a godly guy that was in our church, and I just said, I'm looking for a godly guy. This is his things that I want in him. He messaged me about 4 days later and said, if someone came to mind, we started talking over Facebook, and then through a series of events, we didn't even meet until 2017. When I met him, we had a lot of things that was just like, wow, God answered all these prayers and just ordinated the whole thing. So in June of 2017, my mom came down on a missions trip. I said, okay, Mom, I kind of need your blessing to date him, or I need to cut it off because I'm starting to get attached. She got to know him, and she gave us her blessing to start dating. Then in December of 2017, I told my dad, okay, Dad, this guy, I need a blessing to get married, or I need to break it off before my heart gets destroyed. So he came down for a week and drilled him and got to know him, his family, and all sorts of stuff. And at the end of the week, he sat us down and said, my schedule is free in June or December of 2018. I think you guys would be silly not to get married. I'll let you guys figure it out, but you have my blessing. Don't wait too long, because my schedule book fills up and you might have to wait till 2019. So we got engaged that December, and then we picked June of 2017. And then June of 2018, we got married, and then Daniel, our son, joined our family in 2018. And he stayed home today because we've had a busy week, and it was easier to leave him with Grandma. Si quieres pensar con el segundo. So this is his sisters in that bottom picture, him and his mom in that top one, and him in the church ministry. Proximal. And this picture is my family, and now their wives and husbands and all their kids. So there's 23 grandkids all together right now.
That's the Baxter family?
That's the Baxter family with everyone right now. Except Bethany and Elton, and they have 3 kids. They're the only ones that weren't in that picture.
Wow.
And Elizabeth there was pregnant, and she just gave birth 3 days ago. So there's one more kid now in there. Proximal. So that's Daniel, me, and my husband. So my son's name is Manuel Daniel Joshua, but we call him Daniel to keep these two straight. Okay, proximal. So, si quieres dejar al encargado, venga. So, getting married, I was working in my sister's church, and when we decided what church to attend, we were both leaders, and he said, you know, I really feel like I need to stay in my church, but if you want to go to your church and we just do life together, but ministry in a different part. And I said, no. Why would God unite us and be one body, but we're in different ministries? That's silly. So we started, I started going to his church, which his father's the pastor there. And then we started a new ministry, which we'll get more in depth now. Next, please.
Wow.
Nosotros tenemos el Ministerio Línea de Vida.
So the kids ministry is called Lifeline.
El Ministerio Línea de Vida se encarga de ayudar a los niños en su formación, educación,
So Lifeline, our goal is to help form them in education,
en su salud,
in health, so going to the doctor, medication, dentist,
en su vestimenta
helping get clothing and food,
y en su ámbito espiritual.
and then also teaching them about Jesus and meeting their spiritual needs also. So our goal with this is, that was the first VBS we did last year. We had about 6 adults, and we ended the week with 75 kids. It was crazy, but it was amazing. we want to become a place where these kids can come, like a rec center. Some of them have been sexually abused, some of them are being raised by their grandparents, and a lot of them, because there is no part-time jobs in Iquitos, full work is from 6 to 6, 6 days a week, maybe even 7. So when people are working, the kids are just kind of off on their own. And that's when people take advantage of them. Next, please. So this is some of the stuff that we've been able to do. As we get money, we were able to bring 13 of the kids to the dentist. 3 of them were really scared because they've never been to the dentist before. And at the end, they said, it doesn't hurt anymore when I eat. And we're like, it's not supposed to hurt when you eat. That's what life's supposed to be. Right? And then just when we're able to have kids come over and play and just become good mentors for them, and we do that.
Mayormente Línea de Vida es un lugar donde los niños pueden escapar y ser ellos mismos realmente. Es algo hermoso.
So Life finds a place they can escape and just be themselves without a worry of something's going to happen to them. Next, please.
En el transcurso del ministerio que hemos tenido, hemos implementado una noche de deporte.
So within the ministry, we decided to start a sports night.
Hemos visto que es necesario eso para los niños.
We've learned that it's necessary to have that.
Ahí nosotros hacemos lo que es, tenemos un tiempo de divertirnos, tenemos un tiempo de compartir también un snack con ellos.
So we play a game for like an hour and a half, and it's a way just for them to get their frustrations out or anything that they don't know how to verbally get out. And then once they're all tired, we have a 10 to 15 minute lesson, and then we have a snack too, because we never know who actually ate that day and it's their first time eating that day. So we always offer, take some home, and a lot of them will take it home for their siblings.
Muchas veces nosotros jugamos un juego corrido y después decimos, vamos a descansar. No, hay que jugar otra vez. Dicen, otro juego quieren que metamos ahí. Y a veces los niños quieren también que implementemos otros días, pero en realidad es algo hermoso verlos a ellos, ser ellos mismos.
And even when we're done playing and after the snack and everything, when we're tired, they're saying, okay, let's play another game. We're like, next week we'll be here. No, can't we do it tomorrow night? Why not do it every night of the week? This is awesome.
Si fueran por ellos todos los días irían, en
So
realidad.
if it was up to them, we'd be there 24/7.
No, pero en realidad, aparte de también tener con ellos el juego, divertirnos y ser ellos mismos, tenemos también un tiempo de poder aprender más de Dios. Aparte también hemos hecho también una dinámica con ellos, una misión tenemos con ellos.
So one of the missions we started with them to cultivate their heart
Hemos implementado lo que es una recaudación de ofrendas.
we started taking an offering every week.
Así que los niños todos los días que vienen a la noche de deporte siempre traen sus ofrendas.
CPN.
Si tienen, exacto.
And we told them it's not an obligation to give. If you want to, you can.
Así que en realidad hemos comentado y hemos dicho a ellos que una vez que se llene el envase, vamos a hacer una misión, vamos a hacer una actividad con
And
ellos.
we put it in a glass jar, and we said, once this is full, we're going to do an activity to bless some people that we don't know.
Y ahí en ellos pues están, vamos a arreglar una casa de un hermano, vamos a alimentar a todo Iquitos, vamos a hacer muchas cosas. Ellos piensan en grande realmente.
And we said, be thinking of what activity you guys want to do with this money. And they said, could we fix so-and-so's house? Could we feed up all the Iquitos for one day? Can we paint someone's house? That they all have such big dreams for this offering.
Sí, en realidad la mente de un niño es hermoso.
It's beautiful to see their mind. So that's one of the things we're starting to do with them, is cultivate a heart to serve others too.
Bueno, también hemos hecho lo que es el ministerio para aprender sus versículos. Exacto. Y le hemos dejado una tarea en ese tiempo. En estos 5 meses que no hemos estado, le hemos dejado una tarea también a ellos.
And then in these 5 months, and we'll get to that in the next slide. Well, we haven't been there. We left a homework for them to memorize 5 chapters of the Bible. A chapter for each month.
Y eso no es nada, porque te pueden decir desde el Génesis hasta el Apocalipsis sin confundirse y en forma ordenada.
Like with that. And we've learned they're smart kids if we push them to be, because one time we said, whoever can memorize the books of the Bible from Genesis to Revelations, you'll get a prize. 4 of them had it within a week. And then once the other 4 said it, it encouraged everyone else to do it within a few weeks too, so they all got prizes.
Son muy hermosos en realidad. El incrédulo fui yo, porque en realidad yo les reté a ellos y yo pensaba que no lo iban a poder. Por eso es que también yo dije, pues bueno, amor, no lo van a hacer, decía yo.
I'm realizing my faith in them sometimes is small because I'm like, oh, they might not get it. And then when they do, it's like, oh, wow. Okay, we need to put some harder challenges up for you guys.
Lo más chistoso fue que yo le prometí a los niños diciéndoles, pues, bueno, si tú me dices eso, yo te doy un regalo bonito. Y fue en realidad un golpe para mí.
And I told them to encourage with the books of the Bible. Well, if you guys do it, we'll get you a nice present. It hurt the bank account a little bit, but it was good.
No, es que
Regresamos el otro tema.
What chapters did you make them memorize then?
Okay, well, we're getting back to the chapters. ¿Qué capítulos de Biblia está memorizando?
le hemos dejado la armadura,
The
en
armor of God,
Efesios capítulo 6.
Ephesians 6.
Le hemos dejado también lo que es los frutos del Espíritu.
The fruits of the Spirit chapter.
Le hemos dejado también lo que es que hay tiempo para todo.
The chapter of There's Time for Everything.
Y también le hemos dejado lo que es el Salmo 91, el Salmos 1 y el Salmo 23.
That's 6.
Sí, pues son dos pequeños.
Okay. I guess we left 6 chapters,
Sí,
2
son
smaller
6.
ones and 4 bigger ones. So then it was Psalms 23, Psalms 1, and then
Salmos 1, 23 y 91.
and then Psalms 91. So cuenta, and then
Ahí hay una anécdota, una historia en medio de todo eso. Cuando llegamos acá, una de las niñas del ministerio nos escribió y nos dijo, pues hermano, y si te digo la mitad del capítulo, aún gano mi premio.
so we said for each chapter you get a prize. So if you memorize 1 chapter, it's 1 prize. If you memorize all 6, it's 6 prizes, etc. And one of the kids messaged us while we were here and said, you guys, I've only memorized half of this chapter. Can I still get the whole prize?
Y yo le dije, bueno, en realidad, si caso contrario tú dices la mitad, pues si es una muñeca, te vas a ganar la mitad de la muñeca.
And we responded, well, if it's a doll for that chapter, you're going to get half the doll.
La cuestión es que tú tienes que elegir si quieres la parte de la cabeza o la parte de las piernas.
And we'll let you decide waist up or waist down.
Pero no puedes tener la muñeca completa.
But how can we give you the whole doll if you only did half the work?
Entonces voy a aprenderme todo.
Okay, I'm going to learn it all. Don't cut that doll in half.
Fue algo hermoso realmente. Y yo sé que son capaces.
It's been really fun, and we're realizing they're smart kids. They just need someone to push them.
Y nos han demostrado eso muchas veces.
And they've showed us that several times. Next, please. So Christmas is a big outreach we always do too, because we never know what kids get presents that year, what kids don't. And we like to bless them with a gift and a small food basket for their family. God has left us in awe. This year, their Gardner Free VBS raised enough money to bless 64 kids.
Wow.
And our goal was 30, and we said, if it passes 30, then we'll do an outreach with the other gifts. So we have enough for the kids that are faithful, and then to do an outreach too. And we told God we're not going to put a limit on that. If people give, we'll bless however many we have. And He leaves us speechless every time. Next, please. So Word of Life is then our church. So we have the kids ministry and then the church ministry, which my father-in-law is the pastor there. How Word of Life started is my mother-in-law, when she was alive, she started a small group with her mother-in-law. And then it started growing, and it was always a small group that just jumped from different houses. When she passed, someone from the small group came up and said, make her dream a reality and start a church in my building. So that's when the church plant started. And it was growing, and then COVID happened, and that same guy came to us and said, I need to sell this building now, and you guys need to find somewhere to go. So now our living situation, we rent out the second level of a 3-level house. Someone else rents out the first level. When we, a year or two ago, we went to the landlord and asked, could we remodel the 3rd level for our kids' ministry? Her husband is an atheist. She is just kind of she's a good lady, but they don't really have any faith. And she chuckled and she said, do it. You never think there's going to be a church there. And we said, well, how much would you raise our rent? And she said, you know what? I love helping kids. If you guys run with construction costs, we won't raise or lower your rent, and you can use it rent-free for as long as you rent out the 2nd level. So we were able to raise money to redo the 3rd level. Once that got done, we got the news about the church needing a location to move. And my husband came to me and said, honey, I think we need to host the church. And I said, you're crazy. This is a kids center. I do not do church ministry. I don't want to host. And he said, well, I have peace, and if you don't, we won't say anything. But if God changes your heart, let me know. So we were in a leadership meeting, and they were talking about where we're going to move the church and how we can take out a loan and all this stuff. And all I could hear was God saying, you have this space, use it. And I said, no, God, that's a kids ministry. And then I heard, use it for my glory. You said you were going to. And I said, God, I'll use it for your glory serving kids. I don't want to be in church ministry hosting. And then I heard, if you're faithful with a little, you will be faithful with much. Use it. So I said, okay, guys. This is what we have. If you want it, we'll host. If not, I did my part. They were in there the next week. So now we host church in the 3rd level, and our kids ministry has taken on a different dynamic of now we do more house visits, one-on-ones, and then they come over to our house, and then we do the sports night. So right now we're trying to figure out how to balance both ministries at the same time, because Monday, Tuesday are kind of our prep for ministry, and Wednesday night sports night, Thursday night we have a prayer night, Friday night we have worship practice, Saturday night we have a women's Bible study, Sunday morning is church. And then throughout the week it's whoever needs help, they stop in, or if so-and-so needs to go to the hospital or whatever happens, we're kind of on call. And we've gotten word from the landlord that she wants to move home next year. So we have to move out and the church has to move out. But we'll get to that. So in the church, my husband is the accountant. He's on the worship team. We're both co-janitors. We both work in the children's ministry. I work in women's ministry, and we help with whatever else needs to get done. Next, please. So this is one of the Thursday night prayer nights, but we also do an all night of prayer, which is from 8 o'clock in the evening till about 4 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And people will bring their kids with, the grandparents who are watching their kids bring them with, and it's just an all night event of praying and then listening to different people give sermons and then worshiping and praying. And as you can see here, around 1 o'clock, the kids can't handle it and they all crash in the nursery. So they're just kind of doing life with us. So every week we have a prayer night, and then once every 2 months we have an all night of prayer, and then the other month we'll have a day of fasting as a congregation. Next, please. So this is the women's Bible study. I've started helping out with that, and it's been stretching for me. Sometimes in my Spanish, I still feel like I can fumble over words. I'm fine talking with people, but when it comes to God's word, I don't want to miss anything up and lead someone astray where I know it's like this in English, but what if I get something confused? And now I'm on the rotation of doing the icebreaker, worship, or the Bible study, and usually I don't sing for anyone because they'll kick me out, so God's stretching me. And for the Bible study, we rotate out between different people's houses. And it's kind of like, well, if this sister from the church hasn't been there, let's go to her house this week and just kind of get her involved again. So it's a nice way to get people involved and kind of check up on them. And then the people who have kids, bring them with, and it's a fun ministry. Next one, please. So I love crafts, and that is one of my weaknesses / something I just have to do to get my stress out. And I was thinking, God, how can I do this for your glory? A lot of the women who don't have a full-time job, they'll do stuff to sell on this side of the street for their family. And I had the idea to start once a month a craft night where I can teach the women a basic craft they can do, and if they want, they could duplicate it and go sell it, or they can just have a fun time out of their house doing a craft and never do it again. So I started that. We have a 10-minute Bible lesson because it's also a form of, if they don't feel comfortable to come to church yet or go to Bible study, come learn a craft, be comfortable, hear a little bit about Jesus, but we're not going to shove them down your throat. And once they feel comfortable, then they'll come to church. So I share a lesson, we have a craft, we have kids, somewhere for the kids to go, and then we have beverages and just time to get to know each other. And the women also say, why can't we do this every day? And I said, because I don't have enough time to prep one every day. So when it's craft night, we've seen people that don't go to the women's Bible study or church starting to come. And it's fun to see how God's using that too. Next, please. So 50. Okay. I'm just going to do it quick. He usually talks more, but we have 5 minutes, so we're going to get through this. So God is faithful. My father-in-law has had bad knees for about 15 years. He stopped praying on his knees about 15 years ago. And then when his wife died and God gave him the church plant, it was really hard on his body, his knees and everything. But he got to the point where he said, God, I'll either cross that finish line, or you're going to heal me, but no matter what, I'll get there. 2 years ago, my dad had a knee replacement, and it was crazy seeing how he just got his life back. And Manuel and I talked of, wouldn't that be cool if your dad had the same opportunity one day?
Una de las cosas que a mí más me sorprendió fue de mi papá, una de sus palabras fue que si es de Dios, Dios lo va a llevar hasta el final. Y era algo hermoso en realidad.
So one night when I was talking to my mom, I just asked if Go Serve Global, a ministry they work with, still help people come to America if they can't get the medical help they need in their culture. In Peru, all they offer for bad knees is putting a nail in the knee, so you do not bend the knee at all. You are just straight leg. My mom responded, I don't know, but we'll see. 2 months later, I get a call from my dad saying, Hannah, I've been praying for your father-in-law to heal him, and I heard him say, well, Terry, how'd I heal you? Did I heal you through a miracle, or did I use doctors? He said, well, you use doctors, but they don't offer that in Peru. And he said, Hannah, we just got to get your father-in-law up to America, and he can get new knees. All we have to do is get a hospital to take him on as a humanitarian case, get a doctor to donate his time, get a place for you guys to live, get the funds for while you guys are here, get a therapist to do the after surgery therapy, get his visa and passport, and you'll be set. You just come up. And so talk to your father-in-law and just see if he'd be open to it. And I said, Dad, my husband and I have already talked, and if God opens the door, we'll take it. But I'm not telling him until stuff's actually in place, because I don't want to get him super excited and say, well, that's not going to happen. Sorry to get your hopes up. God provided a hospital and a doctor. And then we talked to my father-in-law and we said, You have a hospital gonna do the surgery for free. You have a doctor willing to give his time. Do you want to proceed with this, or should we stop it all? And he said, if God's opening the door, he'll open it all the way. And he did. Lodging came in, funds came in, someone gave their time for therapy. The visas were booked out until next year, and we got an emergency visa within 2 weeks. A passport, to get him a new passport, was booked out for 7 months, and we got it within 2 days. It was just God moved. He didn't move one mountain, but he moved mountain ranges to get him here to have his knees replaced. Next picture, please. So since doing that, he has had a bucket list. He's never ridden a horse, so he got to ride a horse. He's been fishing. He's been living his life. He's walking faster now than I've ever seen him moving in my life. He's praying on his knees again. And right now he's working on learning how to run again because he really wants to play soccer. Next, please. So how can you be a part of our ministry? I'm glad you asked. So everything we do is raised through people and churches like yourself. Next, please. How can you be a part of our team? We're always looking for people to come down on a short-term missions trip. And if Peru isn't your calling, just go somewhere where God can use you. Go to Africa, go to Uganda, just go somewhere. Don't stay here and live a comfortable life. Go somewhere where God's gonna stretch you, use you, and then you're gonna come back and do it to other people. Next, please. For the church, so we've been doing fundraisers down in Peru, and people have been giving to help buy a building debt-free. And so far, God has raised $28,400. Our goal is $80,000. So we're just trusting God, and he'll either bring in the funds or he'll give us a building according to what we have in the bank account. So we're trusting him with that. Next, please. Our family took a step of faith, and there was a small lot of a property. We took out a loan, we got the property, but now we don't have funds to build a house. So we're trusting God. I'm like, okay, we know you've called us here. We know we need to move out of our house. We don't know your timeline, but it's always perfect. So we're trusting him with that. Next, please. Prayer. Prayer is huge. There's been so many times where we've had spiritual warfare or different things happen to our family, and we get a message from a random person saying, Hannah, I don't know what happened, but God woke me up, and I was praying for you guys. And we say, funny thing. So
we need this.
Yeah. So prayer is huge. Another one of our needs is monthly support. Right now we're living off of $1,000 a month. Usually there's more month than money, but God is faithful. And then this past week we had a garage sale. We were taking donations for that. We sold Friday and Saturday, and we're all exhausted from that. But in those 2 days, God brought in $5,300.
Oh my God. Wow.
Amen.
So God is faithful. Next, please. So thank you for letting us come today. Thank you for listening. If you want to be a part of our newsletter, we have a sign-up sheet. If you would like to pray for us, that would be amazing. And there's candy, there's little toys. Fill your pockets, give it to random kids, give them a sugar high. Your parents will thank you later. And if you have any questions for me or my husband, or if you want to talk to my father-in-law, he doesn't know any English, but I'm more than happy to translate. So thank you for this opportunity.
Manuel can understand English pretty well, can't you, Manuel? And I can get little tiny bits of your Spanish.
So he understands and he can talk. He's very nervous. The first time we were here, we went out to eat with my brother and his wife. And when my brother Jonathan walked out of the restaurant, he tapped his belly and said, "Oh, I got a little fatter from that. It was fun." And my husband touched his belly, wanting to jokingly say, "Yeah, you did get fatter," but he accidentally said the F word. And Jonathan works at a factory. He hears language like that. It did not faze him. He just chuckled it off. And I said, "Babe, do you realize what you just said?" He goes, "No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant." And we're like, "We know." So he's made that mistake, and he's just like, he wants to be overly sure he's good at pronunciation before he says it. So he can understand, and when he feels comfortable and confident, he can speak. But
Yeah. My pronunciation is a little weird. I am so sorry. And thank you for the time. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
thank you so much. And I'm so sorry we went over.
Oh, that's okay.
You're fine.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Thumbs up now.
Now it's me.
Women
All
come
right.
up.
Thank you guys so much.